Joe Biden is considering doing things a little differently, a report says, and he wants to announce Stacey Abrams as his VP right away. Former Georgia gubernatorial candidate Stacey Abrams is reportedly being considered to join Joe Biden's presidential campaign as his vice presidential pick. Close advisors to the former vice president are debating adding Miss Abrams immediately to the ticket, so Mr. Biden isn't just another old white guy. That's amazing. Joe Biden is taking the, hey, I'm hip, I have a black friend approach to politics. That's what Joe Biden's doing. Because you wouldn't think he's out of touch. Otherwise, that's all he needs to do. Just pick a young black woman as his VP pick, and you'll just forget that he's completely out of touch. And even this act, in many ways, is out of touch. Hey, here's an olive branch. I'm going to do this. I'm Joe Biden. I don't want to be seen as just another old white guy, even though I'm completely disconnected when it comes to every single issue. I'm gonna pick you, Stacey Abrams, as a smokescreen to try to help me. But it's because I care. Joe Biden. I mean, that guy, he's not even convinced about net neutrality. He's not a thing that has overwhelming support across the aisles, that some Republicans are even on board with, that all of the Democrats, even the corporate ones, are pushing for. Joe Biden's not even sold on that. Him and a few others that are like, we're willing to compromise on the bill and make it useless. Joe Biden's one of those. That is how disconnected he is. He's not convinced about pot. He sways in the wind when it comes to gay marriage even. He'll say whatever public opinion makes him say. He doesn't really have a position one way or another, I don't think. He's not convinced. Of course he's against single-payer healthcare. Of course he's against free college. Millennials just need to work harder. It's their fault. He's against living wages. He's fine with fracking. But he's gonna get Stacey Abrams. Stacey Abrams, the person who, when she was supposed to give a rebuttal to Trump, she told a nice story about her life. If she was appearing on The Moth, she knocked it out of the park. She told a great story. That was a great story. It was nice. She was likable. It was a great story. It wasn't a rebuttal. She didn't do her job. She didn't do, hey, you're supposed to have a rebuttal to what the president said. By the way, the president spewed out a lie every 2 minutes. And the only reason it was every 2 minutes was because he milked his applause for 90 seconds before he spoke again. All right, let's see if there's anything more. I don't think there's anything more other than this is just a breaking. If Biden were to name his running mate long in advance of the Milwaukee convention, it might be very good politics. Michael Beschloss, author of Presidents of War, told Axios. When was there not a president of war? It's not often we don't get a president. In my lifetime, we've not had that. It also might ultimately be good government. Voters in the primary process deserve to know as much as possible about the future they are opting for. Well, there you go. We live in atypical times. You know, when I was talking about how I'd like to see Bernie and Tulsi team up as early as possible, I didn't foresee that being a VP announcement. I didn't foresee it folding that way. I foresaw somebody dropping out, throwing their weight behind the other, and then they team up later. But we live in atypical times. We really do. We live in a very atypical time politically, which in some ways might be a good thing because, well, I guess it is a good thing because, our status quo is pretty horrible. I mean, look at this. Like, look at everything we've talked about so far in the show. So maybe these atypical times will lead to a better tomorrow. I certainly hope so. In some ways it has. In other ways it's been more of the same. But, maybe it will lead to kind of a better way of doing things. I mean, you see ranked choice voting is creeping up in different places, which is good. We need alternative voting methods. We need to have more choices. And, the way I see it, we need a new party. We need a new party in this country. We need a viable left party. We need a real, true, viable left party. We don't have that. We have two right-wing parties that have power. We have two parties that have power, and they're both right-wing parties. If that reflected all the people that lived here, that'd be one thing. It'd be like, well, I guess we're just a really right-wing country. It doesn't. It just doesn't. You just have you have a corporate media that tries to convince people that it does. And it doesn't.
Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. You can tweet me an article at Ron Placone. We'll go through it together and make it our own. Get your